So apparently this isn't a wedding, it's a $50 million flex session. Yeah, Jeff Bezos really shut down parts of Venice to throw himself what's basically a billionaire block party. 3 days. Foam parties, masquerade balls, a yacht that looks like it could launch into orbit. And for what? To say I do? Let's be honest. This wasn't about love. It was about showing off. He could have used that money for literally anything else: schools, hospitals, fixing the planet. But nope, we got champagne on a super yacht and A-listers in tuxedos pretending this is totally normal. It's giving midlife rebrand, not marriage. And the craziest part, that was just the beginning. Bezos thought he could rent Venice like it's some Airbnb. Yeah, the locals weren't having it. The second Jeff and Lauren rolled into town with their mega yacht and mystery guest list, Venice flipped. Streets packed with angry protesters, signs everywhere, and people literally yelling at celebrities as they arrived. We're talking Kim Kardashian, Oprah, and Tom Brady being greeted not with cheers, but with a whole wall of side eyes and protest chants. And honestly, can you blame them? Locals said they were pushed out of their own neighborhoods just so Jeff could throw his big party. Power lines rerouted, boat traffic blocked, cops everywhere, and the whole vibe was get out of the way, billionaires incoming. Groups like Extinction Rebellion showed up with banners, boats, and even inflatable crocodiles ready to mess with the canals. Like, imagine being so fed up you start planning crocodile warfare. That's how deep this goes. And the worst part, Jeff and Lauren acted like nothing was happening, sipping champagne on a yacht while the whole city was basically saying, get out. Wild. If you ever wanted to see every rich person you kind of wish would disappear into a private island, well, they all showed up to this wedding. This wasn't a guest list, it was a billionaire starter pack. Kim Kardashian, Oprah, Kris Jenner, Tom Brady, Ivanka Trump, Khloe, Kendall, and Kylie, all there. It was like the Met Gala, but make it tone deaf. Some celebs looked like they were thriving. Others looked like they were trapped in a 3-day luxury hostage situation. Gayle King, for example, had the same face she made during that awkward space flight Jeff dragged her on. You know, the one, like someone just told her there's no Wi-Fi, and she has to pretend to like it. She looked like she'd rather be literally anywhere else. And I get it. Nothing about this event screamed fun. It screamed forced photo ops and rich people pretending to have a good time. Oh, and if you thought you'd see it all on Instagram, think again. No phones allowed. Yep, Bezos banned phones like it's some secret society. No selfies, no stories, no clue where you're going. Just hop on a water taxi and hope you end up at the right overpriced circus. Like, imagine telling Kim K she can't post. That's basically a hate crime in her world. But even all that chaos couldn't top the one thing people dragged the most. And it wasn't the guest list. Want to see what had people roasting Bezos harder than ever? You'd think a $50 million wedding would come with an invite that didn't look like it was made in Microsoft Paint, but here we are. No joke, the invitation looked like something whipped up in homeroom by a bored 7th grader. Plain, awkward font, weird layout, and that cheap vibe you'd expect from a free online template. People online were like, this from the guy who made Amazon? Someone even joked they've seen better design on a sweatshirt. And honestly, they weren't wrong. But here's the sketchy part. The invite leaked to the media in perfect high-res quality. No blur, no watermark, just crisp and ready for roasting. Which makes you wonder, did they want it leaked? Like, is bad design their new PR strategy now? And then there was the no gifts message. Look, I get it. Bezos doesn't need another espresso machine, but the invite said to donate to a few hand-picked charities instead. Nice gesture? Sure. But also kind of the bare minimum when you've basically taken over someone else's city for your wedding bash. The real kicker, even with all this buildup, there's a chance they didn't even get legally married. Yeah. So after all the noise, the yacht parties, the crocodile protests, turns out Jeff and Lauren might not even be legally married. You can't make this up. Yep. According to Venice officials, their marriage isn't recognized under Italian law, meaning unless they already handled the paperwork back in the U.S., this whole $50 million circus might have just been for show, a glorified flex, a 3-day content drop with no actual marriage certificate at the end. And if they did secretly get hitched in the States before flying in, why hide it? What's the point of renting out Venice like a billionaire amusement park if the big moment already happened behind closed doors? Honestly, it all feels more like a legacy stunt than a love story. Bezos has billions. He doesn't need a wedding, he needs a brand refresh. And nothing screams, "Look at me now," louder than turning your second marriage into a luxury action film with yachts, influencers, and government-backed road closures. But if you thought that was the peak of the madness, it's not. Because now we've got to talk about what this wedding actually did to the city of Venice. And spoiler, it's not pretty. You know it's bad when locals are literally threatening to jump into the canal just to make a point. Venice wasn't hosting a wedding. It was surviving an invasion. Power lines were rerouted, boat traffic jammed, cops pulled into overtime, and everyday life completely shut down, all because Jeff Bezos wanted to play real-life Bond villain for a weekend. And the people? Livid. Protesters flooded the streets and the canals. One group flowed a mannequin of Bezos, hugging an Amazon box stuffed with fake money down the Grand Canal like it was performance art. Others plastered posters across the city and even planned to clog the waterways with inflatable crocodiles to block the guests. That's how wild it got. Meanwhile, tourists were confused, locals were blocked from certain areas, and the whole city just became one giant backstage pass for the rich and ridiculous. Even Venice's own mayor had to come out and defend the chaos, saying the wedding would be good for the economy, while actual residents were like, yeah, try living here right now. And we haven't even touched the real reason people were this angry. Because under all the parties and PR smiles, this wedding hit a nerve that goes way deeper. At some point, it stopped being about Jeff's wedding and started being about everything people are fed up with. This wasn't just about noise or blocked canals, it became a symbol of billionaire overreach. Protesters weren't just yelling about traffic, they were calling out tax evasion, worker exploitation, and a government that seems way too eager to roll out the red carpet for the ultra-rich. One protester flat out said, "If you can rent Venice, you can pay your taxes." And honestly, hard to argue with that. At the exact same time this wedding was happening, reports came out that some U.S. lawmakers were pushing to give Bezos more tax breaks while cutting healthcare for regular people. So yeah, the anger wasn't just about yachts and celebrities, it was about watching someone worth over $200 billion throw a mega party while everyday folks struggle to pay rent and people are done staying quiet. And that's what made this wedding feel so off, like it was rubbing salt in a global wound. Bezos didn't just rent Venice, he triggered a wave of resentment that's been building for years. And the foam party just pushed it over the edge. And finally, the question nobody seems to be asking out loud, was this wedding really about love? Or was it just another rebrand? Let's be real, this didn't feel like a celebration of love. It felt like a power ritual in designer clothing. From the over-the-top yacht parties to the no phones, no gifts, no details secrecy, everything about this wedding screamed curated spectacle. This wasn't two people promising forever. It was Jeff Bezos stepping onto the world stage again and saying, "Look at me now." It's like he's trying to shake off that awkward tech bro past and replace it with billionaire swagger, celeb friends, and designer tux energy. And honestly, it worked for some. The headlines rolled in, the cameras clicked, the influencers posed. But for a lot of people, this didn't come off as stylish or inspiring. It came off as out of touch. Like Venice got rented out by someone who just wanted to throw the most expensive middle finger in modern history. Because when you look past the glitter, the foam, and the crocodile protests, the message is loud. This isn't about love. This is about control, image, legacy. Jeff isn't just getting married, he's rewriting how people see him, and he's doing it with confetti, controversy, and a whole lot of cash.